Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to talk to you guys about the brand new album from Bloodred Hourglass, Godsend, out June 28th on Out of Line Music. This album has 10 tracks, it's 41 minutes in length, and this is the band's fourth full-length album. This, in my opinion, is the band's most diverse album to date and their best album to date. I really have to say that. I really feel that strongly about this record. Before I explain to you guys what I mean by most diverse and how am I going to back up the statement that this is the band's best album, before I get into that, I just want to say that the mixing and production on this record, absolutely top notch. I love what they did. I love how crisp, how clear, how clean each single song is. An amazing job from that perspective. Even from that perspective, I feel like there's been a growth coming through their previous albums into this one. This one just feels more mature, the sound is better, everything around this album is better. So even from that perspective, from a production perspective, there is a growth and there is a sense of reaching a certain maturity level with this record. Now, I said at the beginning that I felt like this was the most diverse album to date from the band. The reason I feel this way about this record is, to me, this doesn't feel like your run-of-the-mill Bloodred Hourglass or melodic death metal album. I really feel like the band took a conscious effort to keep their DNA, keep their spinal cord, keep their identity as far as the melodic death metal sound is concerned, but they really wanted to spread their wings, expand a little bit, and really try different things. Listening to this record, I get the impression that they didn't want to just put out another run-of-the-mill Bloodred Hourglass album. They didn't want to put out another Heal. They didn't want to put out another Where the Oceans Burn. They wanted to create something different. They wanted to create something that had some uniquenesses to it, and perhaps expand their sound and try a few different things. Not a lot, not in a way that would change the record completely, change their sound completely, so that fans would come into this record and say, what happened to Bloodred Hourglass? This sounds nothing like previous records. No, not to that point. But to me, this album is more diverse because they included a lot more different components that were not included in previous records. And that gave the album a lot of dynamic. It gave the album a diverse sound, a more dynamic sound, a bigger sound, and it allowed the band to go in different directions and create songs that had different vibes, different atmospheres to them. You don't feel, sitting down listening to this record, you don't feel like you're listening to just another album coming out of Finland, another melodic death metal album. You really feel like you're listening to something that has a little bit more work to it. There's a little bit more thought process that went into this record, and you really are taken more on a journey. Sure, there are your typical Bloodred Hourglass songs on this record, but they've always, in almost every single track in this record, they've included something different. A little spice here, a little spice there, something here, something there, something different to just give the song a slight twist, a slight turn. Like I said, not changing the overall sound of the band, not changing the overall vibe, the overall DNA, but just incorporating a little thing here and there just to change ever so slightly to give the listener a little bit of something new, something fresh. That way, when you sit down to listen to the record, you don't feel like you're just listening to Heal version 2.0. You're listening to a brand new record because there's enough there that make it unique and different to the listener. Now, you're asking me, what are those changes? What did they incorporate? A few things I'm going to tell you that they've incorporated on this record that I really feel that gives the album that diversity. They've incorporated in some tracks a lot of symphonic elements. This really gives the songs almost a symphonic death metal vibe, if you will, but also gives the tracks a lot of atmosphere. It gives a completely new outlook to the song because it just incorporates something completely different. Like okay, you're gonna say to me, other bands have incorporated symphonic elements into their melodic death metal sound. That's nothing new. Yes and no. In the way in which they did, it's different for them. It's a little bit of a twist, it's a little bit of a turn, and I like how they did it. They didn't overdo it throughout the album. They picked 2-3 songs and they incorporated a few elements here and there, and those elements were really more, they were not there just to give the song melody, just to give the song something different. They were there more to create an atmosphere, to create an environment, a blanket around that song, to just really bring the song to life and give it a little bit more juice, if you will. Then some of the guitar riffs on this album, as you're listening to the record, you can almost pinpoint certain spots on certain songs when you hear riffs that are not your traditional melodic death metal riffs. Some are more thrash metal. There's certain songs that have that more almost a more of a thrash vibe to it, to some of the riffs. Not the whole song, they're just kind of sprinkled in there in the middle, in between the choruses or before a solo. They incorporate a little bit of that thrash metal sounding riffs just to give the listener, once again, something different, because you're expecting a certain guitar melody to come at a certain point and you don't get it. You get that more heavier, dirtier sounding riff. So they did stuff like that, including a little bit more of even pure heavy metal, speed metal type sounding riffs. Some of the songs have almost a metalcore structure to it. Some of them, not all of them, but there's a few that have more of a metalcore structure to it. So there's a lot of different clean vocals. I almost forgot, there's one song that uses a little bit of clean vocals. So there's a lot of different elements and there's a lot of moving parts. The key thing is 98% of the record is Bloodred Hourglass as we are used to. And then the other 2% are these slight changes that they've introduced to the record, just enough to create a little bit of the change, to create a little bit of diversity in their sound, so that they have a brand new record with a brand new sound, still keeping the original core, but expanding on it, so that you don't feel like you're just listening to the old album on repeat. I like that. I like the fact that they didn't go absolutely crazy and start changing every single song and start changing the overall sound of the band. This is the perfect segue. If you're growing as a band and you're maturing, you really need to start experimenting with a few little things here and there. The key thing is how you're going to do it and how you're going to incorporate it in your sound without changing who you are and without changing your core DNA. To me, these guys did it with this album because they're giving you a brand new Bloodred Hourglass sound with the same old style. They just have enough there. They just have enough little nuances in certain songs to allow you as a listener to pick up on these new little things and feel excited about it and feel like you're really listening to a brand new album from the band. I really like that. Now, from a vocal side of things, you really don't get much of a change. Jarkko's delivery, that's his trademark delivery, the way his gutturals come out, the way his harsh vocals come out, you really are getting what you would expect from him and what you would expect from the band. So the changes on this album are really musically. They're not vocally or even lyrically, because lyrically I really felt that this album really continued the theme from Heal. So the themes that you got in Heal, this album really picks up on those and continues those stories forward. You really get that same vibe that this is a continuation from the previous record lyrically. But like I said, vocally, Jarkko delivers once again. I'm always amazed how he's able to change his harsh vocals to screaming vocals like on a dime, and he really changes the dynamic of the song, how he incorporates those different styles. So this album is diverse in sound, not overly diverse, but diverse enough to really create a brand new record, a brand new fingerprint, a brand new sound to Bloodred Hourglass, and really give them a springboard to perhaps future albums on where they can go with their sound and what they can experiment. But lyrically, I really feel the album is a continuation from Heal, and then vocally, this is Jarkko's trademark style. You're gonna get that, and you're gonna get it in spades. As far as favorite songs are concerned, this was not an easy decision to pick 3 songs to talk about because I liked every single song on the record. I went back and forth in my mind on which 3 to pick, but I settled myself with these 3. I'm gonna start with Waves of Black, first song on the record, and this is your typical, prototypical Bloodred Hourglass song. If you were to look Bloodred Hourglass in a dictionary, this style of song, how this song is structured, would be there. This is their trademark sound. This is how they've gotten us fans used to their sound. And I love the fact that in an album where you're experimenting with a few things here and there, you did not incorporate any of those in the opening track. To me, kudos to them. You really want that opening track to have a familiar sound. Like listening to this song could have been and Where the Oceans Burn, this song could have been in Heal. You really get that familiar sound from Bloodred Hourglass in this opening track of Waves of Black. So it gives you a sense of familiarity. You start feeling comfortable and really sets your listening experience for what the rest of the album is going to be. This is my favorite song in the whole album. I love Waves of Black because it has melody, it has aggression, it has cool tempos, changes in tempos, and it has one of the more darker, I would say, lyrical-wise, darker choruses of the album. I absolutely love everything about this song, but to me, this song is all about the chorus. The message in the chorus is so dark, it's so melancholic. It's absolutely a mic drop as far as the chorus is concerned. I love it. The chorus just screams pain and suffering. Like it's an outburst of pain and suffering. I love how slow, how melancholic, how dark, and at the same time how melodic the chorus is, and it's surrounded by verses that have a lot more higher tempos and heaviness to it, a lot higher, more momentum, if you will. So this is a song of peaks and valleys. It really peaks during the verses and then it dips down during the chorus to give you a more melancholic approach. It's really needed for a song that has that dark of a theme, and specifically around the lyrics of the chorus. Another song that I want to talk to you guys about is the Uni-Finished Story. Killer track. It starts with a burst of melody and heaviness. This song really blends melody and heaviness extremely well. I really feel like this is one of those songs where those two components are hand in hand. They're holding hands from the start of the song all the way to the finish, the finish line. Now, it alternates at some points. In some points, you really feel the melody coming more to the forefront, and then sometimes you feel that melody moving more to the background, and you feel the heaviness and the aggression coming more to the forefront. The two of them are always there. They're always together from the beginning to the end of the track, but you just have this sense that the two kind of alternate spaces. They kind of take turns in which one of them is going to come more into the forefront and be the more predominant player without the song. This is another song that has killer melodies, just killer guitar melodies, really dark. A song that has a really cool solo as well. I really like the solo of this song. It's at the halfway mark of the song. It really bridges. The song feels like the solo breaks the song, and it feels like the song is made of two parts. So that solo really bridges those two different worlds, and it falls in line not only with the tempo that the song has, but it falls in line with the overall melody that the song has. The solo incorporates some of the same melodies that are present throughout the song. It variates on them. It kind of pushes them to the limit. But when you really look at the inner skeleton of the guitar solo of this song, you can see a lot of those same melodies that you're going to get throughout the song. My favorite solo on the album because of what it does to the song, because of the life it brings to the song, but also how it carries the song forward and how it bridges those two worlds. Last but not least, Pieces. From the three songs, this is perhaps the one that has the higher tempo. Having said that, there's still some slower moments, more so around the chorus. They really have, this is almost like a Bloodred Hourglass DNA style song, where you have a lot faster, aggressive, super aggressive tempos, vocals, guitars, everything during the verses, and then it becomes more melodic and melancholic in the chorus. This song is like that, but I feel like the heaviness and the aggression that this song has, out of the three that I'm mentioning, this one has it the most. It really has that. But it's a song that has still a really cool dynamic. It's a song that I feel has a little bit of a thrash vibe to it. There's a guitar riff at the midway point of this song where perhaps you're expecting that guitar melody to come in, but it doesn't. You get a heavier, dirtier sounding guitar riff, almost like I said, almost something out of a Testament, something out of like Exodus, or it has a little bit of a thrash vibe to it. Not full blown, but it has a little bit of a thrash vibe to it. And it's incredible how well it works in this song, because you have a song that has, like I said, a lot of aggression, a lot of melody. And when it gets to that point, your ears are almost expecting a guitar solo or a really cool guitar melody, like a really stripped down melancholic guitar melody to come in at that specific part of the song, and that's not the case. They hit you with this really heavy, drawn out, thrash sounding guitars, and that really gives you it gives you something different. And you may think, wow, how do you incorporate that in a song that has a lot of melody and aggression and make it work? It works because it really changes the dynamic of the song. It gives you almost, it's almost a way of pumping the brakes without fully pumping the brakes. It gives you a chance to relax, catch your breath a little bit, because this song has a lot of higher tempos. Catch your breath a little bit, enjoy that, how heavy, how methodic that riff is, and then they hit you back again. The song continues with its onslaught. So I really like the fact that they incorporated that very different, very unique riff in that middle of the song, creating a different style of bridge. In the previous song that I mentioned, The bridge was done by the solo, and how the solo was incorporated in this song. That bridge there in the middle, the bridge that connects the two sides of the song, is done by having a very methodic, dirty, thrash sounding guitar riff. Absolutely incredible. I love this album. This is Bloodred Hourglass, Godsend, out June 28th on Out of Line Music. Let me know your thoughts on the band. Let me know any questions that you have about the album, because I know the album is not coming out until June 28th, but I've had this album for review for 2 weeks. I could not hold it any longer. I had to share my thoughts. And once again, on record, this is the band's most diverse album to date, and I dare to say their best album to date. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.